Hello everybody! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate, otherwise known as Pixie Sticks or Diamond Painting and Dr. Pepper, and I'm coming at you with a WIP and chat today for the second time in 2 weeks, which is much better than I have been doing up till now. So hopefully we can keep this up. We're gonna go ahead and pull this back and get to work, but what I'm working on today is Yule by Miss Holly, and it's what I worked on last week also, because right now I'm just trying to get this done during the holiday season and during the event Jingle Drills. Even though I'm not entering for any of the prizes, I just want to, my goal is to actually participate with the event and finish the kit. So that's what I'm working on. I am using a tray by Munimade, and my pen that I've been using with this kit is by C'est Plus Beau Autour, and that's French, and I'm probably just murdering the pronunciation, but I really think this pen matches the colors of this kit really well, and I love it. So, and then I'm using thin metal multi-placers from Diamond Art Club because they're awesome and my favorite. And I'm using, let's see, I'm using the Ethereal Butterfly Dot Dot Putty from Butterfly Effectwares. And sometimes in these big sections I'll probably be using this other pen, also by C'est Plus Beau Autour, because it has my 12 placer attached to it by Glue Dot, and I haven't bothered to switch that out to a different matching pen yet. How are you guys doing? I'm going to pick a color, and I think I'm going to go with the one that's probably going to take up most of this video, but yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll just put this here to be pretty. Alright, so last time I did a video it was released on Cyber Monday, but I had recorded it I think the Saturday before that. So I hadn't yet done the live countdown to Cyber Monday with Katie and Lindsay, which was super fun. So thank you if you attended that, because you guys all made it a blast. And if you missed it, I hope you got to catch the replay. But yeah, we had a lot of fun chatting about the new releases and just diamond painting in general, and being excited for everybody who was excited for the releases happening that day. It was a close call, but I think Cyber Monday releases got me even more so than the Black Friday releases this year. And I ended up purchasing four kits for myself and 2 for my son Fletcher on Cyber Monday, whereas Black Friday I had purchased 3 for me and Fletcher had gotten 3. So yeah, 6 kits both times, but differing amounts for each of us. But man, Margaret Morales came out, and I have been so excited for those, and I had to get all of them because I have been following her art for many years, and she actually had been with a different company previously, which is no longer in business, DIY Moonshop, and I had wanted to purchase some of her kits from them, but I couldn't justify the expense of it because it costs a lot in shipping, and the kits themselves cost quite a bit, and the rendering that they were doing at the time, I kind of came to them late. Like I found out about them kind of late in the game, and it was pretty obvious that the rendering had gone downhill, and I was afraid to spend so much on a kit and then not like the way it came out. So I never did pick one up. So I was super happy when Diamond Art Club managed to license with Margaret Morales after DIY Moon Shop closed, because then I could still work on some of her art as diamond paintings. So yeah, really, really excited. I have gotten my Black Friday order already, but I haven't gotten my Cyber Monday order yet as of today, which is the 3rd. It says it's coming in on the 5th, and I'm really excited. I probably shouldn't, but I might kit up one of those right away when it gets here, because I have been so excited for Satura ever since I saw it in voting and then saw it come through for rendering. I was just like, I need this one. So I might kit that one up right away, but we'll see, because like I said, I do want to get this one finished, and I think once I finish this section, I only have 12 sections to go, and I can finish at least 2 sections each day that I work on it, but I don't get to work on it every day. Like during the week when I'm busy with work, I don't always get to diamond paint, so I should have no problem finishing this by the 25th, but I also don't want to necessarily make that harder for myself by starting a new project I'm really excited about. So I haven't decided yet. Are you guys gonna what do you think I should do? Are you gonna enable me, or are you gonna say that I should be strong and get this one done first? Let me know in the comments. By the way, it is pouring outside, so if you can hear that, I apologize. I don't know if you'll be able to. I do use a mic, so I'm not sure what it picks up, but yeah, it's kind of cozy because I'm just in here diamond painting. It's late at night. It's actually 2 in the morning right now, which I didn't realize when I started this, but I'm not super tired yet. And I really wanted to get this filmed and get it out for you hopefully tomorrow if I can get it edited in time. So yeah, it's cozy and late and everyone's asleep but me. And by everyone, I mean all of our pets and my husband, because my son Casey is spending the night with his grandpa. So yeah, I'm just hanging out. Earlier today, I played a bunch of Stardew Valley with my son Fletcher. Since he moved away in September, I definitely treasure the moments that we get to spend playing together, and I'm so grateful for Stardew Valley and its multiplayer function. I know that I'm not the only one in the household who benefits from that. My husband and my stepdaughter play that together also. They have this huge farm that they're trying to get to 100% perfection, and it's really fun and relaxing, and I really enjoy being able to get on a call with Fletcher and just do some farming, you know? So we did that for quite a while earlier today, and then he had to go to bed for work tomorrow. So now I am diamond painting and doing this WIP and chat. Yeah, but so back to Cyber Monday. We had that fun live, and I was so grateful to be included on that. It's really fun to chat with Lindsay and Katie and all of you who were there in the chat. And then the next day, my husband and I actually took advantage of some good Cyber Monday sales, and we purchased a new refrigerator, which we had been contemplating for a while. Our old refrigerator, the water maker broke. It would still make ice, but it wouldn't dispense water anymore. And from the research that I did when we were looking at refrigerators, that's fairly common for either the water maker or the ice maker especially to go on the fritz. And a lot of times there's nothing they can really do to fix it that isn't stupid expensive. So the fridge itself was still working fine, and that was something that we were okay with because we actually moved that one into our garage to be our like backup fridge storage. So yesterday is when we had to move our old fridge into the garage, and the new fridge came today. And it's been a very tiring couple of days because yesterday we had to do all that moving, and we did have an older fridge in the garage that was our backup fridge that we had offered to my dad when we got the new one. So first we had to disconnect and kind of move that one out of the way in the garage, and then we had to take the doors off of our now old one so that it would fit through the garage door to go into the garage. And that took a while, and it took all three of us, my husband and my son and me, to like get it moved and get all the doors off and get the doors back on and move all the food from the old backup fridge. We had to combine everything into the one fridge because we didn't have the new one yet, because that came today. So we did all that last night, and then I was nervous today because we recently also had to replace our dishwasher, and that was a disaster. And we purchased our dishwasher at Lowe's, and this fridge was also purchased from Lowe's because they were the ones that had it in stock and had a really good deal. We got it for about half the price, so it was a really good deal. But what happened previously had me nervous. So if you have been around for a while, you might have heard me talk about how I have really bad luck with professional services anytime we get any of those ordered. I don't know what it is, but something always seems to happen to mess up. And so what happened with our dishwasher was we got that ordered and we got it scheduled to be delivered between like a window of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on, I think it was a Thursday. And we waited and waited and waited, and it was about 2:30 when I finally called Lowe's customer service number and was like, hey, we haven't seen anybody, just wondering if they're running late or what's going on. And the person on the customer service line said, oh, well, we have it listed here as having been delivered an hour ago. And I was like, no, nothing got delivered here. And she was like, yeah, it says it was delivered and that there was no kitchen, so they just left it in the living room. And I was very confused at this point because we had paid extra not only to have the dishwasher installed in our kitchen, but also to haul away our old one. So I was like, I was very confused about how this could have happened and it not raise any red flags to the person delivering when clearly things weren't lining up with what the order should say. So the customer service person finally got a hold of the delivery person, the installer, who said his GPS had sent him to the house and he delivered it to the house the GPS sent him to. And I was like, okay, well, that obviously wasn't our house. And what we eventually discovered was that it was my neighbor, like 2 houses down, who just happened to also be waiting on a dishwasher from Lowe's. Obviously because they're redoing their kitchen, apparently, because they don't have their functional kitchen right now. But theirs wasn't supposed to be coming till later, and apparently the neighbor was just like, oh, you're from Lowe's delivering a dishwasher? Yeah, we're expecting one of those. Bring it on in. And I guess they were expecting the same kind even, because, yeah, no one raised any red flags. But yeah, so this installer did not question the person's last name and make sure it matched our last name. They didn't check the address and make sure they were at the right address. They just delivered our dishwasher to the wrong person, which was kind of crazy. He tried to go back that day and get it and bring it to our house, and our neighbor was gone. Like, apparently they work nights, because they were literally gone the whole evening. And then he went back first thing the next morning and left another note, because he'd left a note the first time, and our neighbor still wasn't there. But eventually later on that day, the neighbor did call back and say, "Oh, okay, come and get it then." Luckily. So the installer finally went back and got it and installed it the next day at our house, and it was all fine. But like, it's either laugh or cry at this point, because something always goes wrong. So when it was time for the fridge to be delivered, I was nervous that something like that was going to happen again. Luckily, this time it all went off without a hitch, and the delivery person came during the time window that was specified and brought the right product and everything else. So now we have our new fridge. And it was especially hectic because the window today was from 10 to 2, but my son also had, my son Casey's going to be in a big choir performance for school, and it's like a huge, I'll probably talk more about it next week, because it's really actually pretty unique and cool that his school does this, but it's happening next week, so I'll probably talk about it next week. But he had to go to a big dress rehearsal for that today from exactly the same time window, 10 to 2. So I had to take him to that, and luckily could just drop him off. But then my husband had to make sure he was here in case the fridge showed up and all that stuff. So yeah. Anyway, it got here. It got installed. Luckily, Casey was feeling okay to go to his rehearsal, because he's been sick most of this week and actually missed 3 whole days of school. And I think I might be starting to come down with the same thing, because I'm extra cold and yeah. But anyway, that got done. And then it was time to get the old backup fridge over to my dad's and install it in his kitchen. And that was today, and that was another whole ordeal, because he borrowed a trailer from his neighbor, and we strapped it on there, and we followed him to his house, and then we had to take the doors off his old fridge and get that one out of his house and down the stairs of his porch and around the side of his house, because he's going to clean it up and try to probably sell it. And then we had to try to get the new one in, and he had measured, we had measured the fridge and told him how big it was, and he'd measured the space to make sure it would fit. But he lives in a like a manufactured home, like a mobile home, and it's kind of old and probably wasn't built very well. And it's funny that the space that he needed to put it in actually was a different measurement at the bottom of that space than it was at the top. Like the actual wall there kind of curved inward a little bit at the bottom. And so when we first tried to fit it in there, it absolutely was not going to be fitting. And so we were quite unsure what we were going to do, because we had just like literally forced it through his front door after taking the doors off. It barely fit through his front door, and that was after getting the old one out of there. And so yeah, it was a lot of work and time. And then it wasn't going to fit. And we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I suggested, what if we try to move the wall so that it was more straight, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But my dad was able to get a sledgehammer and a 2x4, and my husband put the 2x4 next to the wall and whacked it with the sledgehammer a couple of times, and the wall actually moved out so that we could then fit the fridge into the designated space. So yeah, it ended up working out, but it's just kind of wild. So I'm very glad that ended up working, because it would have been a pain to have to get the old one, put it back, take this one back here, I guess, figure out what to do with it, So anyway, yeah, crazy. So yeah, new fridges all around, yay. This one was an upgrade, even though it's actually changed hands a few times. Our old backup fridge was actually one we had gotten from my mother-in-law when she replaced her fridge, and it's still in great working order, and it was bigger than my dad's fridge, so it was an upgrade for him, and yeah, we got our upgrade. So happy Christmas to my husband and me. That was our gift to each other, I guess, this year. The other big thing that happened this week was that it was time for my first A1C update test with my doctor. So I talked about in my last WIP and chat how I've been recently diagnosed with diabetes, and the A1C is the test that determines that. It checks your average blood sugar over the previous 3 months to give an average number for how high it's been. And when I was diagnosed, it was 11.2. And the normal range is below 5.6 is non-diabetic, and then 5.7 is pre-diabetic, and I think 6.0 is you're diabetic now. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know that it's somewhere in that general vicinity. And so it was time to do another one of those tests to kind of see how I've been progressing with my medication and dietary changes and all that. And I was hopeful that it was better, because I have, like I mentioned, I have a continuous glucose monitor, which is a sensor that's inserted in the upper arm that kind of keeps track in real time. And it gives an estimate over the past 30 days or however long you've been using it for a number that's similar to the A1C, and mine has been reading at 6.1. So I was hoping that would carry over and be the actual case, and that my A1C was really going to be that low, but I was kind of not super counting on it, because I don't know how accurate my CGM is. There are times that it fluctuates a lot, and it doesn't match the numbers that I get when I do a finger prick blood sugar reading. And also, it just doesn't seem to me like most people are able to change their numbers over that short of amount of time, 3 months, that drastically. So I didn't really know what to expect. Like I said, this is my first update since diagnosis. But I went in and I had my blood drawn and waited somewhat impatiently for the test results that were going to be posted the next day. And wow, guys, I don't even know how to tell you how surprised I was when the test results the next day came back and my number was 5.5, which is in the normal range. Either my medication and dietary changes are working amazingly, or one of the two tests was inaccurate, and I don't even know if that's possible. I actually sent, because my doctor had left a little note with the results and said, significantly improved A1C, great job. But I sent her a message to follow up and was like, is this even, like, I had no idea it was possible to drop this low just in 3 months average. So is it possible that one of these tests is inaccurate? Like, I know I wasn't, I really don't think I was misdiagnosed with the first test because, I had my blood sugar tested at the hospital when I went into the emergency room, and it was very high, and I was having all those symptoms like increased thirst and significant weight loss without trying and stuff like that. So I know something was going on, and I'm pretty sure that my diagnosis was correct, but I'm just like super worried that that my current test results are in error somehow, if that's possible. It just feels too good to be true, you know what I mean? But I will say that, like, when I talked about last week when we did Thanksgiving, I ate small portions, but I ate whatever I wanted that day. I took the day off from diabetes, and it didn't spike my blood sugar out of range at all. It did stay a little higher than usual for a longer amount of time than usual, but by the next day I was back to normal. And I've been also noticing that I don't really go out of range with almost anything I eat recently. I've been experimenting with trying to eat more and more things to see how they affect my body, because like I mentioned, it seems to be different for every body, and so I'm experimenting to try and figure out what works for me and what doesn't as far as my blood sugar goes. And nothing has been spiking me out of the normal range. So I don't really know what that means. Like, some people say diabetes can go into remission if you take care of it, and then you still have to be careful or it can come back. But if that's the case and that's what's happened, I don't know what that means for me, because if I still have to eat like I'm diabetic, then what does it matter whether it's in remission or not? How is it different from just having it? So I'm confused at this moment, and my doctor hasn't gotten back to me since I sent her that message, and it's been, I think, like 3 business days since then. And I know they're busy. I'm in a state of confusion, and I kind of have been since I was diagnosed, but I'm tentatively very happy about this news if it's true. Like, if it isn't an error and it has dropped that much in 3 months, that's obviously amazing. Like, that's really cool. And I hope that's the case. But yeah, that's so tentatively good news on the diabetes front. I did today try to have like a bean and cheese burrito, which, from a restaurant, which the tortilla probably has quite a bit of sugar, and it did kind of spike my sugars to like the high end of normal, and stayed up for quite a while. So I do still need to be careful and be experimenting with what works and what doesn't, which is why I'm glad that I have that continuous glucose monitor, because it can tell me without a bunch of finger pricks. So as far as what I've been listening to and watching and everything this week, I did start Iron Flame. I think I mentioned that in my last Whip and Chat, but I have only gotten about 13% into it and noticed that someone had posted on YouTube the full audiobook of Matthew Perry's autobiography, and it's read by him and everything. And since I don't know if this person actually has permission to post it, I was worried that it would be removed at some point, so I thought I'd listen to it while I had the opportunity to do so. Because he recently passed away, and I'm a fan of the show Friends. I am old enough, this is gonna age me, I'm old enough that I was watching it when it was first releasing on cable, and I remember just talking to my friends about what they thought about the most recent episode and whether Ross and Rachel were going to get back together and, just all that drama. And have since also watched it with my husband and some good friends of mine now and my older kids. So it's just kind of one of those shows has been a big part of my life. And it was really sad to lose one of the actors of that show who just kind of has affected pop culture so heavily, especially since he's only I think something like 12 years my senior, and he has had a long struggle with addiction, and he talks about that in his autobiography. But so I know that his body was pretty ravaged from those experiences, but it's still kind of sobering to, I don't know, to look up to somebody who's not really that much older than you, and for them to pass away from unknown causes at this point. But I don't know, it wasn't like an automobile accident or anything like that. It was apparently some kind of health issue. All we know right now, I think, is that it looked like he drowned in his hot tub, but obviously people don't really just drown in a hot tub unless something else is going on. So anyway, I just wanted to listen to his autobiography while I had the chance to do it for free, and not use up an Audible credit on it, because I was interested to learn more about his life and his experiences, and I did learn a lot that I didn't know, because I was a fan of Friends, but I haven't ever been one of those fans that kind of learns everything about the actors' lives or anything like that. Even with shows that I love even more, like Firefly, I don't really delve into the actors' personal lives or find out what their, the ins and outs of their other details. I just really like to watch the show, That's the kind of fan I am, I guess. But no, it was really interesting to learn his history and stuff in his own words, and it was kind of weird to hear his voice saying all these things when he's passed away now, and he sounded a lot different in his autobiography than he did when he was Chandler on Friends. He talks about in his book that he was in the early stages of emphysema, I think. He doesn't really spell it out, but I think that's what he was saying. And it really, you could tell in his voice that that was the case, because it was real rough. And people might have noticed that if they've seen the Friends reunion that happened in 2020, which I somehow missed that even happened. So I haven't seen it, but now I'm kind of curious to watch it. But yeah, it was a worthwhile read, and I don't read a whole lot of nonfiction, but I have in the past read some autobiographies of people that that are very nostalgic to me, and this was kind of something like that. So I was really glad to get that opportunity. So yeah, I haven't gotten very far in Iron Flame because I listened to that instead, and I have finished that now. So I'll probably get back into Iron Flame. I'm also reading like a Kindle copy of a book called Rise of the Exile by J.D. Matter. And he's actually a YouTuber that I've followed for a really long time, and he mostly does religious commentary, like commentary on religion. And sorry, I think I bumped the camera. And it's kind of he does animation, and he basically did a whole animated series called Power Corrupts, and it's his commentary on religion, and it's both funny and extremely like profound in my opinion, and a really good story. So it's kind of about the animated series that he did was about kind of a futuristic society where all of the high school kids, one of their finals is that they go into this like simulated world where they get to be the god of that world and create it however they see fit, and they're judged based on how they're graded based on how they treat the occupants of their world. And so it talks about this high school kid named Yahweh who enters into this simulation, and they all have like an older high school kid or maybe graduated kid, I can't remember, who's like their guide, and it just shows Yahweh not listening to the words of wisdom from the kid Jeffrey who had gone through all this before. And it was a really long and epic story with lots and lots of episodes, and he completed it pretty recently, and it was just really cool to watch as somebody who likes that kind of content. So if you like that kind of content, his YouTube channel is called Dark Matter 2525, I think. So yeah, check it out if that interests you. But anyway, he many years ago wrote, I think it's a trilogy of fantasy novels that he never published or anything, and recently has decided to self-publish them. So he published them through like Amazon and Kindle, and then he's also recording the audiobook and releasing it an hour at a time on his YouTube channel. So I started out listening to the audiobook on his YouTube channel, but I kind of wanted to go faster than 1 hour a week, so I purchased it on my Kindle so that I could just read it before bed sometimes, because I do like to read before bed sometimes. That's about the only time I read physically, is when I'm trying to go to sleep and I'm having a hard time doing so. Sometimes reading will help me distract my brain long enough that I can fall asleep. And I'm enjoying it. It's older, like he wrote it before he did the animated series, and I'd say it's a little bit more, like, it's not as polished as his storytelling became later on, and I can definitely tell that from, like, the prose and the way he describes things, in written word versus animation. But I'm still enjoying the story, and I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm almost done reading that one. And so I'll probably finish that up kind of simultaneously as I'm listening to Iron Flame. When I diamond paint, I'll probably listen to that. And then when I'm trying to fall asleep at night, I'll probably read the other one and finish that. I've been actually using Goodreads again, which I started an account there, I think 2010, really long time ago, and didn't get very far into using it, and then forgot about it. So, but it's really fun to be able to go on there, and like my two older kids have an account there, and I can see them when they update, like, what they're reading and what they thought about different books and their progress on their current reads, and it's pretty fun. And so if any of you guys have Goodreads and you want to be my friend on there, let me know, because it'd be fun to see what you're all up to if you are readers too. As for what I've been watching, that has been definitely very different this week than it usually is, because I tend to just watch YouTube, like my YouTube subscriptions and YouTube videos and stuff. But lately I haven't been in the mood for my usual watch list. And I don't know, this just happens to me sometimes where I just crave something different than the norm. And so, and sometimes I get stuck, like, on YouTube Shorts, where I'll watch one and then, I'll scroll down and it'll play another one. And you're probably familiar with this too. You kind of just get stuck into doom scrolling. And so I do that sometimes. And what has happened to me a couple times recently is that these accounts will post clips of some movie, and they won't say which movie it is. You have to go into the comments and hope somebody has mentioned it. But they'll post clips of some movie, and that movie will intrigue me, and then I will watch it. So that's what I have done a couple of times this week, where I think the first one was a clip from a movie called The Ron Clark Story, which had Matthew Perry in it, but I'd never heard of it. Apparently it was released on TNT a long time ago. But it was one of those movies where, he's a teacher and he, becomes a teacher in a new school of this class of kids who are struggling, and it's one of those classic, like, improve their lives type of story. But I'd never seen it, and it looked interesting from the clip I saw, so I went, and it was free to watch on YouTube, so I watched it, and it was good. I mean, it wasn't anything super original from that genre, because I've seen similar movies like that, but it was well acted and touching and a good movie. And it was cool to see, another role that Matthew Perry has done that I had never seen and didn't even know about. So there was that one, and then I saw a clip from a movie that just looked really, really weird, and the comments were all talking about how this was actually one of their favorite movies, and the clip I saw was it had Ryan Gosling, who, played Ken in the Barbie movie. And he was introducing his new girlfriend to his brother and his brother's wife. And his new girlfriend happened to be like a anatomically correct life-size female doll. I'll just put it that way. And I had never heard of this movie, but it's called Lars and the Real Girl. And I thought it was kind of like one of those movies that just is stupid and supposed to be dumb funny. But then when I read those comments talking about how it's touching and it's one of their favorite movies, I was like, really? So I had to watch it to see what it was all about. And it actually was really touching, and it kind of made you think about the difference it makes when a support system is there for a person when they're having a mental illness event, and how much of a difference that can make. And yeah, I was very surprised by that movie, and I would recommend it. So it's called Lars and the Real Girl, I think I mentioned. But yeah, just not something I had ever heard of before or imagined myself watching, but it was also free to watch on YouTube, so I figured, why not? Anyway, guys, we didn't get all the way through this section, but I think I'm gonna end things here because it's now like 2:45 a.m. and I should probably get to sleep pretty soon. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this whip and chat, and that you got some diamond painting done, or that I kept you company while you were doing something else. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who had such nice things to say on my previous whip and chat, even though it had been a long time since I posted. I really appreciate those who stuck around, or if you've joined recently and you subscribed or commented or liked that video, I appreciate it. I'm going to do my best to continue to put out content on a regular basis, and I appreciate all of you being here. That said, I hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, everybody.